Hi, I'm Mark Hodgson from Pure Bookkeeping. I'd like to welcome you to our video, How to Grow Your Bookkeeping Business in 3 Simple Steps. So the promise for this video is that it can help transform your bookkeeping business forever. But obviously to do that, you're going to need to take some action yourself. So what I'd encourage you to do as you watch is sit with a notebook and a pen, and as we're going through this, write things down and specifically things that you can action in your own bookkeeping business. I'd love you to go away with 2 or 3 things that you can put into action in your bookkeeping business pretty much immediately. There may be relatively small adjustments in what you're doing today, but over time they could make really considerable improvements. So what are we going to cover in the next 30 minutes or so that we've got together? Well, you'll discover the 4 stages of the bookkeeping journey, and it's usually the 3rd stage that catches most bookkeepers out. So we'll have a really good look at that. Then we're going to have a look at how to add £10,000 a year to your personal bookkeeping revenue. So if you're just starting out, it will probably be a bit more than that. But for bookkeepers who are up and running, mostly we find there's capacity to add at least another £10,000 to £15,000 to what you make from your bookkeeping. And that's before expanding to hire other bookkeepers and making other money from them. So we'll have a very good look at that. Then we'll go through our famous 7x5 marketing plan for new bookkeepers to fill your practice within a year. And obviously this plan works for more experienced bookkeepers as well. You'll be able to take some of these strategies away and improve how you do your marketing too. We'll look at 2 common marketing strategies that, in our opinion, are a complete waste of time and money. And just to give you a little clue, one of them is yellow. And then we'll look at a really simple thing that most bookkeepers just don't do, but is prevalent in other industries. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be part of the bookkeeping industry, but can add as much as 10% to your revenue. And finally, we'll go through the secret to hiring great bookkeepers every time. If you've implemented all of these things into your bookkeeping business, eventually you might want to expand and employ other bookkeepers. Nailing this is critical to the growth of your business, and getting it wrong can really hurt or even kill your business altogether. Pure Bookkeeping's roots are in Australia, which operates in a very similar way to the UK bookkeeping market. It's the result of a collaboration between Peter Cook and Debbie Roberts, who over the course of some 8 years worked together to document and systematise the process by which they'd taken Debbie's successful solo bookkeeping practice and turned it into a highly profitable bookkeeping business that now employs 12 additional staff. Debbie came to Peter when her books were full. She'd been going for a couple of years. She was working evenings and weekends and still had more potential clients coming. So she was at this sort of catch-22 situation where she wanted to grow and take on more clients, and she knew that to do that she had to hire more bookkeepers, but she couldn't trust another bookkeeper with her clients. So Pete suggested that Debbie wrote down a system and got what she did out of her head and onto a document that other bookkeepers could follow and repeat. In this way, Debbie felt she would be able to trust other bookkeepers with her clients. Over the following 8 years, Pete and Debbie made every mistake in the book. They hired bookkeepers who weren't up to it, which cost them clients, and had other clients go bankrupt on them, owing them thousands of pounds. But they also did a lot of things right, and Debbie now has a team of 12 bookkeepers working for her. Most importantly, she's now got to the point where the business doesn't need her to be around for it to run smoothly and successfully. Last year, she even took 5 weeks holiday to travel around Europe at the end of the financial year. Pure Bookkeeping was developed to take what they've learned over that 8-year journey to help bookkeepers just like you to achieve the success that you want and deserve, and also importantly to help you avoid some of the mistakes that they made. That said, they must have done something right, because in just a few years hundreds of bookkeepers have invested in the Pure Bookkeeping system. Debbie and Pete have now teamed up with expert UK bookkeeper Sarah Palmer and myself, Mark Hodgson, and I'm like Pete, a business coach, to bring all the benefits of the Pure Bookkeeping system to UK bookkeepers. Our mission at Pure Bookkeeping is to help great bookkeepers grow their businesses and to help good bookkeepers become great ones. We do that through our website, through these videos, through our seminars and webinars, and through the Pure Bookkeeping system. So if you're already a great bookkeeper looking to get even better, or if you're just starting out and you're looking to grow your business, you're in the right place. I want to start by talking about the bookkeeping business journey. So this is the journey that you go on as you grow your business. There are 4 stages to this journey, and I love to think of this in terms of profit, so that's how much money you take out of your business, and also in terms of leverage. Leverage is when you can do something once and then keep getting paid for it. The best example of leverage in a bookkeeping business is when you hire another bookkeeper. So if you hire another bookkeeper, you do that once. You then get a client. You win the client once and then keep working together, and then you keep getting paid for that again and again, which is leverage. So the first stage is startup. This is obviously when you haven't got much profit and when you haven't got any leverage. This is when it's just you in the business and when you're starting out and you're not making much money. It might be part-time. Often when bookkeepers are starting their businesses, they've done bookkeeping for someone else and are now going out on their own. Often at this stage, bookkeepers undercharge and generally don't have the systems in place for how they do their bookkeeping or how they do their sales and marketing. The focus here is on getting more clients, and this is where our 7x5 strategy, which is coming up in a second, will be really useful. If you're good at what you do, and if you implement some of these strategies, you'll get to the point of being a successful practice. And if you're charging properly and doing 30 to 40 chargeable hours a week, our benchmark for a successful practice is around £40,000 to £50,000. And you should be able to get there. Some people stop here, and that's fine. That's a very nice practice to have, and a lot of bookkeepers are very happy to be just working on their own, working from home, not a lot of overhead, but still having a decent income. For other bookkeepers, what they decide at this point is to say, okay, no, I actually want to go to the next stage, which is transitioning to a business. And this is where you start hiring other bookkeepers, and typically there's an initial drop in the profitability of your business. You realise here that there's a whole lot more to running a business and employing people than you thought, and the cost of administration goes up, especially if you don't have good systems. You can have problems with the people you hire. Your costs generally increase. You might have to have an office now. You might be paying for an admin person, part-time or full-time, and you're feeling more stressed because you have other mouths to feed. You worry about getting the amount of work you need for the amount of bookkeepers you have, and that's generally what we find. For a period when you make this transition, even though you've got more leverage, you're actually making less money than you were on your own. There may be a period when you naturally question whether you're doing the right thing, because you could be more making money if you just went back to being on your own. So the focus at this point is definitely on getting great bookkeepers to work for you. This is the key to successfully transitioning from a bookkeeping practice to a business and then going on to the next stage. And then the final stage is obviously a successful business. We think you need to have at least 5 bookkeepers working for you to get to this stage and to really justify the effort of transition from a practice to a business. And the game here is to get to £150,000 to £500,000 of turnover, and you want to be taking home £75,000 to £200,000 of that. One of the other advantages of a successful business is that this is an asset you can sell. Now, it's important to understand that a successful bookkeeping practice doesn't really have a lot of value. They're all your clients and they all love you, but when you decide that you want to retire or you want to move on, while there's some value of that client list to you, there's not a lot of value in it to somebody else. A successful bookkeeping business, however, one that you can run without you and has great systems, is typically worth somewhere in the order of 1 year's gross revenue. So if you build a bookkeeping business to say £500,000, you would expect to be able to sell for somewhere in the order of £500,000 a gross sale. Now, as you can see, there are quite a few pitfalls in this journey. One is to get trapped halfway between a startup and a successful practice. We see a number of bookkeepers who end up somewhere between £20,000 and £30,000 of revenue, are on their own, they're really busy, but haven't got things structured properly to maximise profit and continue to grow. Alternatively, you may have transitioned to a business employing perhaps 3 or 4 bookkeepers, but again haven't got the cost structure right. You've got perhaps too much overhead, too much of your time is going into looking after other bookkeepers, and you end up not having as a profitable business as you should. So that's a quick overview of the bookkeeping journey. Let's now get stuck into the 3 ways to grow. When I talk about growing a business, I'm talking about growing the revenue in the business. So this is how much money the business is bringing in. And there are three ways that you can grow your bookkeeping business, and only 3 ways. See if you can guess what they are. We find that most bookkeepers guess the first 2 and often struggle with the third. So let's see if you can get them. The first one is fairly obvious, and that's to get more clients. And this is where our famous 7x5 plan comes in. So these are 7 strategies, each of which can get you 5 clients within 12 months. For a new bookkeeper, this will be enough to build your practice. For most people, 20 to 30 clients is a full practice. Obviously, it does also depend on the number of hours a month you spend on each client. So even if a couple of the 7 strategies don't work as well for you, you can still be full and hopefully within a year. This will obviously get you to the successful practice stage. And you can then choose whether or not you want to transition to a business. At that point, there's a couple of the 7 strategies that we recommend you drop, and I'll come back to those at the end. So the first one is people you know. So the first 5 clients come from your network. When you're starting out, you want to let everyone you know that you're open for business, and that if they know anyone who needs a good bookkeeper, they should let you know. If you're a Facebook person, post it on Facebook and use any other social media platforms that you're on. This one is tough for some people. Some people don't want to mix business and pleasure, and they don't feel comfortable talking to their friends about this. But it's a really important starting point, as it's an existing network for you, and it doesn't have to be an overt hard sell. You just let people know that this is what you're doing, and you'll find that people genuinely want to help, and they'll let other people know. So the first one is people you know. The second is people they know. So in other words, referrals. We're constantly surprised about how unsystematic other bookkeepers we talk to are about getting referrals. Most bookkeepers say, yeah, this is the best source of new business for us, but then don't do anything to actually get referrals. In our 7 Secrets of Growing Your Bookkeeping Business seminar, we go into a lot of detail about the most effective way to get referrals and show some of the systems that we use. But for now, just a couple of takeaways. At the very least, tell your clients that you're looking for new clients and ask them if they know anyone. A lot of people don't give referrals just because they assume you're already full and they don't want to detract from the work you're already doing for them. Also, you'd be surprised at how often just asking and people go, okay, let me have a think about it. And that will lead to some referrals. So we want to get 5 new clients over the year from referrals, people your clients know. So now we're on to number 3, which is all about networking. Again, a really powerful strategy for people just starting out. Join a local business network that typically meets weekly or monthly, and they're full of small businesses, i.e. your target market. So meet as many people as you can. Ask them if they're happy with their bookkeeper or not, or if they do it in-house. Suggest meeting and offer to give them a free bookkeeping health check, and in some cases that'll lead to new business. Now the 4th is a gutsy one, and it might sound a bit old-fashioned, but it's just plain old door knocking. It's actually going from business to business, knocking on doors and telling people that you've just started up in the area and ask them if they're happy with their bookkeeper. Again, if they're not, or if they do it themselves, offer them a free health check. Have a report or something you can leave with them, particularly if the owner of the business isn't there or isn't available at that time. You'd be surprised at how effective this is, and particularly if you're just starting out, this is a really powerful one. A similar strategy is the letterbox drop. All you do is get a postcard. It's easy and cheap to get them printed, and you can do it all online. Get 1,000 printed that simply say on the front, looking for a great bookkeeper, and on the back say you've just started up in the area and offer to come and meet them and give them a free health check worth, say, £75. Then just start pounding the pavements. It's a great way to stay fit and healthy while growing your business at the same time. The 6th strategy is to work closely with accountants. And in our experience, this has been the best source of referrals. It's been Debbie's most successful strategy to get enough work to look after her 12 bookkeepers. And again, we show you exactly how to get in front of accountants and, more importantly, have them refer you a steady stream of quality clients in our 7 Secrets of Growing Your Bookkeeping Business seminar. Now, we don't have time in this video to go through the whole thing, but 2 things you should start doing. Firstly, set up meetings with all your clients' accountants, as it's important to meet them face to face. An accountant will take a meeting from you if you have a client in common. Secondly, prepare a presentation that will explain your business to them in such a way that they will immediately trust you with their own clients. Again, if you want to find out exactly how to do this, then please come along to one of our seminars. This is a critical strategy, particularly to get to the successful bookkeeping business phase. You'll need to be developing relationships with accountants that lead to referrals. The final strategy is your website. More and more people use Google to find service providers now, and probably you do it yourself. What you want your website to do is to come up when people are searching for bookkeepers in your area. So if you're called Karen and you live in Reading and you were starting a bookkeeping business in your area, you would want to look at getting yourself the URL karensbookkeepingreading.co.uk or something similar. Because when people are searching for a bookkeeper in your area or the surrounding areas, you want them to see your website. And then when you get your website, make it a bit personal. A lot of bookkeeping websites have stock photos on them, and often American stock photos that look a bit phony. The job of your website is to get somebody to give you a call. So have a picture of yourself on there and have something personal that comes from you about why you'd love to talk to them, and make it inviting for them to get in contact with you. So those are the 7. Once you're full or already well on the way to a successful practice, we advise that you stop the door knocking and the letterbox drop. Then you can focus more on getting referrals and getting in front of accountants. These are the 2 to really push once you're transitioning into the business phase. So 2 things not to do. So I promised I'd tell you the 2 things not to do. Things that we think are a complete waste of time and money. Well, the first is advertising. Advertising can be very expensive, and typically the quality of people you get from advertising isn't that high. A referral who comes from an accountant is probably the highest quality referral. They come expecting to buy and generally are willing to pay a very good rate. The next best is a referral from an existing client. Again, they're probably just talking to one person and not a lot of people, and they're coming expecting to do business with you. Somebody who responds to an advertisement is probably looking at a bunch of different bookkeepers and often shopping on price alone. And the same thing goes for a big Yellow Pages ad. Don't pay a lot of money for that. You're much better off putting your time and energy into the 7 strategies that I've just outlined. So, the first way to grow your bookkeeping business was by getting more clients. The second way to grow your revenue in your business is again fairly simple and is to charge more. We find that most bookkeepers aren't charging enough. To get to the numbers we spoke about earlier for a successful practice or successful business, you need to be in the top quartile of the industry. So that's just a fancy way of saying you need to be in the most expensive 25% of bookkeepers. In other words, charging between £25 and £30 plus an hour. So how do you do that? How do you get to be in the top quartile of bookkeepers? Well, the most important part is between your ears. You actually have to get your head right and value what it is that you do appropriately. In our 7 Secrets seminar, we talk about empowering business owners around their finances, and in fact, that's actually one of the 7 secrets. You have to see yourself doing much more than just data entry and being much more than an agent of the Inland Revenue. You have to be a critical part of your client's team, keeping their books impeccable and providing them with the critical financial data they need to plan, run and grow their business. That's your job, and it's critical to your clients that you do that well. And you need to value it appropriately. And if you're not valuing it, and if you're not realizing that what you do empowers your clients around their finances, which is a critical element of their business growth, then you can't expect your clients to value it either. And you can't expect them to pay for it appropriately. The bottom line is to put your prices up. We found that most bookkeepers we talk to can put their prices up by £5 an hour without losing any clients, or at least any clients that they want to keep, and without impacting their ability to get new clients. And the other thing I want to say about charging more is that it's all very well, but you want to make sure that you get paid, and you get paid on time. And there's a couple of quick tips on doing that. First is to use one of the many companies that offers a payment collection or facilities management service. These offer a direct debit service to pay you promptly and then collect the money from your client. Life is much better if you're not having to spend a lot of time chasing money from your clients. There's just a whole level of stress that you don't need. And also, once you start to employ or contract bookkeepers, it's critical that you're getting paid before you have to pay your bookkeepers. If it's the other way around, you're going to create a hole in your cash flow that can kill your business if you get big enough. The second thing is to charge for rescue jobs up front. Now, you've probably done them, but a rescue job, as the name suggests, is when somebody comes to you in trouble. They've got a shoebox full of receipts, the taxman's breathing down their neck, and they haven't done a tax return for 2 years. You know the type of thing. Make sure you charge for and are paid in advance for this work. We suggest that you charge in 10-hour blocks in advance. Once the 10 hours is used up, you repeat the process, always getting payment in advance. This is one of the mistakes we've learned from that you won't make. On one occasion, before learning this lesson, Debbie got deeper and deeper into a rescue job she'd taken on in good faith. She found second and third notices, letters from lawyers and debt collectors, and suddenly she realised that the client was close to bankruptcy. She'd invested over £2,000 of time for which she never got paid. So charge for rescue jobs up front and make sure you get paid the money you deserve and that you earn. So we're up to the third way to grow your bookkeeping business, and as I said, this is the one that most bookkeepers don't do, and that's simply to sell more services. So sell things other than hours of bookkeeping to bring revenue into your business and add value to your clients. For some reasons, bookkeepers think they should only be charging by the hour, and I think that actually reduces the valuing of the offering. Our benchmark for this is 10% of revenue should be coming from additional services. So we aim to make 10% of our overall revenue from things other than hours of bookkeeping. The simplest way to do this is to produce and sell reports. And if you can make it along to one of our seminars, we'll show you exactly one of the reports that we sell, and I'll show you one in a second as well. Also, think of other ways you can make more money. So if you produce a budget for someone, and you're doing that for free at the moment, or just for your hourly rate, put the work into making it a really good tool, and then sell that tool to your clients. You just need to think a little bit outside the square about what else you can do that will add value to your clients and how to charge for that appropriately. So as I said, to show you just how simple this can be, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of just one of the reports that we encourage bookkeepers to sell. Now, this is very imaginatively titled The Financial Report, and it's basically information from the profit and loss. You can see that you just pull out a few things from the profit and loss. There's a comments section where you should leave a few comments, which will be things like, have you noticed that X has gone up? Or that there seems to be a discrepancy here? Or did you realise blah, blah, blah? Or perhaps you should talk to your accountant about X, Y, Z. You know the kind of thing. Now, obviously, you don't give financial advice. You respect the limits of your knowledge and qualifications as a bookkeeper, but this is still incredibly valuable information for clients. And the fact that they pay for this report and the fact that it comes bound and sits on their desk means that they actually look at it. Experience tells us that most clients, even if you give them a folder that has a profit and loss and has the balance sheet, they don't really understand the profit and loss. And if they do look at it, they just look at the bottom line in their bank account. And so pulling out the relevant information and pointing it out to them, the stuff that you see and they don't, is training them. But it's also very valuable and gets them to look at it because there's stuff they need to know to be running their business. Well, you may think, well, this is simple. Why is this worth money? But in our experience, it definitely is. So I just wanted to give you this illustration of how simple it can be. We have some more sophisticated reports as well, and we charge more for those, but this is just a quick example. And now a quick word on hiring bookkeepers. I finally wanted to give you a bit of an oversight into hiring bookkeepers. If you do all the things we've talked about, and the first three particularly around getting more clients, sooner or later you're going to need more bookkeepers, especially if you choose to go on to transition to business and build a successful business as we've talked about. When you do that, don't rely on CVs and interviews. That's a very poor way of selecting a bookkeeper, and it's what Pete and Debbie did for a while, and they made some big mistakes. But given you're not a professional recruiter, that's probably going to be your starting point, but it can be an expensive way of trying someone out. What you really want to do is put them through a skills test. So have some tests where you can actually put a score on how good they are at bookkeeping. And again, in the 7 Secrets of Growing Your Bookkeeping Business seminar, we go through the proven test that we've devised and explain how that works. But if you don't have that, at the very least watch them do some bookkeeping. It sounds obvious, but you'll be surprised how few people do this. You'll learn more in an hour sitting beside a bookkeeper, watching exactly how they enter in an invoice and what they do to reconcile the bank statement, how quickly they move and what their body language is, than you'll learn ever from a CV or interview. So whatever else you do, at least do that. So thanks for watching this video. I trust that you learned something, and it's our hope that it will lead to action in helping you grow your own bookkeeping practice or business. I promised earlier that the information I was going to give you would change your bookkeeping business forever. Of course, that will only happen if you actually start to action some of the things that we've talked about. So I really hope you've taken some notes, and there are some things that you're going to be able to implement out of what we've talked about in your own bookkeeping business. And let's make that sooner rather than later. Because even if you do just one thing to get more clients, one thing to charge more money, or one thing to sell additional services, that can quickly change everything over time. As you're probably getting a little bit of a sense, I've only just literally scratched the surface of what you can do to grow your bookkeeping business. I now want to show you how you can take it to the next level, and I'd love to invite you to join Sarah and I at one of our upcoming seminars and webinars. So that's the 7 secrets of growing your bookkeeping business. And as I said, it's a seminar or a webinar. In this seminar, you actually come along and meet Sarah and I in person, and just to prove we exist. Alternatively, if you can't make a seminar or can't wait to learn more, our webinar is exactly the same conversation, but you get to do it in the comfort of your own home using your own computer. You still get to talk to us and ask questions, but it's obviously a slightly different experience. So what do we do in these webinars or seminars? Well, they go for 2 to 3 hours, so obviously there's a lot more depth than I've been able to go into during this introductory video. We go through our 7 most successful strategies. So this is the 7 secrets that we've learned over the last almost decade that has helped pure bookkeeping to get to the place where it is now, used by literally hundreds and hundreds of bookkeepers. We talk about how you should be charging and how to put your prices up by £5 per hour or more. We find that a lot of bookkeepers that we talk to don't really know what other people are charging and what's appropriate, and also what they need to do to be able to charge in that top quartile that we've spoken about. We show you exactly how to get in front of accountants and then how to get a stream of referrals for them, and we look at 2 specific systems to get more referrals from your current clients. So again, that was one of the things we focused on, accountants and then referrals. So we go into exactly how to do that. We'll also show you the reports that many bookkeepers using our system are now producing and selling successfully, and we'll go into details about that. Also, how to hire great bookkeepers every time, and again, I can't stress enough the importance of this. When Debbie got this right in her business, it proved to be the tipping point that enabled her to achieve explosive growth. Sarah and I will be there to answer any questions, so come along prepared to ask them. You'll also leave with specific actions to take. This is a workshop, and we want you to leave with more knowledge, confidence and tools to immediately put to work in your growing bookkeeping practice or business. So we'll work with you, and as we go through each of the 7 secrets, we'll be getting you to say what are the actions you could take in your business. At the end, we get you to commit to 3 specific actions. So as you can see, you're going to be working quite hard. And finally, they're all run by Sarah and myself. So if you're getting a little bit sick of my voice, you'll be glad to hear that Sarah runs the seminar with me, and you get to hear her experience firsthand. She obviously offers a very different perspective than I do, being the bookkeeper herself and being the person who has grown her bookkeeping business using the systems. So, who should attend? Well, I think there are 4 categories of bookkeepers who this is perfect for. The first one is if you're just starting out, or even if you're thinking of starting a bookkeeping business. Debbie often talks about how great it would have been to know all this stuff when she first got started. So what you'll get from this seminar is the tools to fill your books within a year. And if you're full and working evenings and weekends, then that's another category this is perfect for. So we often get people coming along who are in the same place Debbie was when she first started creating the pure bookkeeping system. Lots of bookkeepers in this place are full but haven't got their business structured correctly, and even though this might be you, even though you're working flat out, you're still not earning the money you should be. So what you'll learn in the seminar is what you need to do to get your income up from your own bookkeeping, and then decide if you want to transition from a practice to a business or not. So obviously also, if you're transitioning to a business, there's some great stuff in here for you. So at this point, you've already got some other bookkeepers on your staff, and we'll show you how to set up your business so that it's more profitable sooner, and how to get to that successful business stage more quickly, and of course avoid the pitfall of getting trapped halfway up that line between transitioning to a business and a successful business that I spoke about earlier. And finally, and this one may be a little bit surprising, if you're already running a successful bookkeeping business, we'd love to have you come along. We often get a few people coming along who are already running successful businesses, and we love having you guys there. We love having you share your wisdom and share your journeys with other bookkeepers in the room. What we found is that people who are already successful are always looking to learn more, and always walk away from the seminar with 3 or 4 improvements and things that they can take back into their business to make it even better and more profitable. So if you're already at that stage, please come along as well. So all you need to do now is click on the button and find the dates. On the seminars page of the Pure Bookkeeping website, click the sign up for a seminar/webinar button, and you'll see a list of dates of different webinars and seminars that we've got coming up. Just press the order now button for the one that suits you best. You'll get to see the one you've ordered and the price. On the top right hand corner, you'll see that there's a box marked special code. Now that's under the order summary. Just write the word video in that box and then hit apply, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's our gift to you. Finally, I want to tell you now what some of the bookkeepers who've already been to the seminars have said about it. These are just 3 of many. You can read a lot more on the website. Bookkeeper Mark Smith said, "The best thing about the 7 Secrets seminar was the information about systemizing your bookkeeping business. Well drafted and clearly outlined systems increases productivity and reduces mess, which in turn increases net profit. I also loved the interactions with other bookkeepers in the seminar. It was entertaining and informative. The 7 Secrets seminar gives you the ability to clarify and focus on what drives your business growth or is stopping it." So what would I say to anyone thinking of going to the 7 Secrets seminar? Just go. Janelle Menzies said, "Doing the 7 Secrets seminar helped me get clear again about my vision for growing my bookkeeping business. I was floundering a bit before the seminar, and the growth of the business was stagnating. I'd only put on 1 new client in the previous few months. I left the seminar much more focused on expanding my business and clear about the best strategies for doing that, both in terms of getting more clients and recruiting staff. I also left feeling much more confident about the future and my capacity to achieve the growth I'm after. I highly recommend it." And finally, Carla Ragazzi said, "I love the interactive nature of the seminar and the fact that we could ask questions and get input for where we are now. The information was also fantastic. The biggest thing we got out of it was a change in mindset, really valuing what we do, and seeing ourselves as much more than doing just data entry. And the funny thing is that now we value what we do more, so do our clients. As a result, we've put up our prices, are attracting a better quality of client, and are starting to charge for our reports and things that aren't just money for time. I couldn't recommend it more." So I hope that gives you a flavour of what we're about. Thanks for listening. I really hope that you've got great value from our time together and a few ideas that will help you to make more money as a bookkeeper immediately. Sarah and I really look forward to meeting you either in person or virtually in one of our 7 Secrets of a Highly Successful Bookkeeper seminars or webinars to give you even more information on how you can accelerate your earning, learning, and of course enjoyment as a bookkeeper. Don't forget, you just need to click on the register button to take the next step.